Congratulations on your matriculation into the Apartment Academy, your institute for higher NOI. I am the Dean of the Apartment Academy, Daniel Cunningham, and the Apartment Academy podcast is the multifamily industry's only operations-focused podcast featuring insights from industry leaders, investors, vendors, and technology providers. So if you invest in multifamily real estate or you're involved in the day-to-day on-site operations of apartment buildings, we are your source for efficient operations and maximizing ROI. Today's podcast was with Carroll VanHook, and Carroll is with Akara Partners, and they're doing something very different in the multifamily industry in terms of their concepts around community and amenitizing in a way that draws people out of their apartments and gets engaged, and they're having some great success that can translate, I think, into a different way of thinking about your own communities and how to activate your resident base and improve resident retention. So there's a lot of good stuff today, and it's just really interesting hearing about somebody going out and sort of creating a new brand thesis in multifamily. So I think you'll find today's episode very interesting. All right, Professor VanHook, welcome to the Academy today. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, Daniel. How are you?
Great. Thank you. I'm very excited about today's discussion because you really have a niche point of view about apartment property management and operations. Let's start off just as an introductory. Tell us a little about yourself, how you got into this business. You're currently the Director of Leasing and Marketing for Akara. How did you get to that point?
Well, as everybody has a crazy story of how they got into property management, mine is no different. I really have always loved hospitality and tourism. And since I was around 16 and doing dance competitions and traveling all over, as well as being in an orchestra and traveling all over the world with my youth orchestra, believe it or not. Fun fact. So when I got to go to Europe a couple times in my early teens and late teens, early 20s, I really started paying attention to these big resorts and just the front office people and their uniforms and how they spoke to people. And I just was enamored by that. I just thought it was so neat and so professional, just providing an experience. And so really, that's what it goes back to is, wanting to be in hospitality and tourism and providing experiences and customer service for people. So ended up pursuing that in college. I was lucky enough to get into an international hospitality program down in Hilton Head, South Carolina, through a family friend, and did a really awesome internship with people from all over the world at this really big resort down there. And I got to experience all different parts of running a hotel and running a resort. And I love the front desk. I'm such a people person. I can talk to just about anybody for anything. And I also love serving. And for those that have been in F&B and hospitality, serving that it's a lot of work. It's a lot of hard work, things that people don't see behind the scenes that go on. So I really like that pressure situation. So long story short, ended up graduating from University of Kentucky, go Cats, and went to one of my favorite hotels in Lexington. And I just walked right in. I didn't know if they were hiring or not, and was like, hey, I want to work here. My name's Carroll. And I gave him my resume, that wasn't worth much. But I ended up getting a call and did an interview and ended up working at the front desk for like $10.25 an hour back in 2008, 2007. So started there and just worked, really learned everything about running a front office. And about 2 years later, it was a really busy Saturday night, and it's a big hotel. I got approached by, these really big, nice businessmen that were staying there. And, I was just talking to them, and they were like, you're running the heck out of this front desk. And I was like, well, it's a 352 room. It's a Saturday night. What can I help you with? I thought they really wanted drink tickets, and I ended up giving them some. But so he was like, "Are you? What do do you like what you do?" And I was like, "Well, I'm just waiting for the next best thing," and like any 20, 21 year old would say. So, he left me his business card, and it was Miles Orth from Campus Apartments, and Nick Zaffreys that was staying there, and got recruited from him. And about 4 months later, I was in leasing, doing a student housing development near University of Kentucky. 2 years later, started traveling for an opportunity in Arkansas, and I really got into these new property developments. And long story short, as well, this is before I got hired. The property actually had a construction delay for move-in from their opening, and they were using my hotel, and I was actually helping facilitate, when those things happen, all the storage, putting people's luggage, checking kids into hotels because their apartment wasn't ready. And so I actually was helping with that before I even knew about it, and went to work at that property. But now here we are close to 13 years later, and I've done over 10 lease ups in 30 different markets. Had a portfolio at one point at over 47,000 beds, and I'm definitely in the billions with, revenue generating and property asset ownership. So it has been quite the journey, and so fun, so rewarding, but extremely, hard, and things that you have to get uncomfortable with doing, and really just putting yourself out there to expand on your ideas and really execute and make things happen.
So really, most of your career, I mean, you had a sliver of time on the hospitality side, but the bulk of it has been, in marketing and leasing and in multifamily, and a bulk of that in student, sounds like.
Yes, a bulk has been all in luxury student housing developments. And then in 2018, 2019, came over to Akara with a great friend that was just like, Carroll, there's this amazing brand going on, and it has hotels, hospitality, apartments. There's a co-living side that has your student side to it. But it was kind of like all came together that got me back to the hotel and the customer service and providing experiences. And here we are 3 years later, an opening two during a pandemic, which is, a challenge in itself. And the properties are doing very well. And now we have 4 more in the pipeline of our Connect brand to open across the US.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about that, because the Connect brand within Akara is very interesting. It's sort of an interesting evolution of the idea of what a resident experience can be. So share with the students here in the classroom today what the thesis behind the Connect brand is, and what you guys are doing over there.
Yeah. And I know we only have a little bit of time, so I'll keep it short and sweet, because I could talk about this for days. It is really, really interesting. So just think, back in the early 2000s, going into the, early 2000s, college kids would live maybe off campus, in some apartment complex that didn't really have any programming, or they didn't really necessarily like students living there because of the time frame and, things that students get into. Well, when student housing came about, now we have this niche product, purpose built is what they used to call it for students. And it was by the bed leasing, fully furnished. Everybody had their own bathroom. You could bring your dog. It was there was a pool there, washer and dryer in your apartment, and there's programming, and you're around other collegiate people that are like-minded and into the same things that you are at this stage of life. So fast forward 2008, 2009, now all these people are kind of in the workforce, and let's call them the millennial type, if just to rip the Band-Aid off, that, 25 to 45 age range, and they're in the workforce now. But you don't really you want your freedom, you want your own space, but you don't need a lot of space because you're working a lot. But you want to be in the heart of the city, and you want to be around other people that are on the go and doing things and, building their careers, but also have your private space. So what is so cool about Connect is that we have it's micro living. I mean, we don't boast that we have these huge apartments. It's very, very minimal space, but they're fully functioning and really, really smart apartments. And most of them are studios. So we have developed with our F3 furniture partner that happens to be out of Nashville, an electronic Murphy bed that comes down with a remote or a button. There's like a hideaway desk that comes out of the wall. Everything is built to transform your space without having to move your furniture and not give up any luxuries that you're used to, with a washer and dryer, quartz countertops, cabinet lighting, disposals, all of your appliances, of course, even rainfall shower heads. So we haven't skimped any room on the conveniences or luxuries that one may be expected to have in a big city or a really nice sky rise. But since our square footage and our footprint is much smaller, our price per, our prices are probably around 25 to 30% less than our average competitors just because of the size. But when you look at our value, and I hope everybody will just go check out our websites, we have a, kind of a value check that we push around, and it shows it's like you could spend average of like $3,000 a month just on things that you go and experience and do. So social and networking events, joining organizations. How much do we spend on coffee every day? I think probably for me, I could probably put a small down payment on a really nice new car or something with the coffee amount of money I spend in a year for coffee. But I think, once you see this value check and getting everything under one roof for one cost at Connect is what we're all about. And that's what we're really selling is this value of a membership. And one thing I love that we kind of created was we don't want to call our residents residents. We actually call them members. So you're a member of Connect. When you travel, and that's kind of our point, is when you travel, you can use any Connect nationwide. So let's say you live in Nashville. You have a studio in Nashville, but you're going to be in Denver for the day, or you're going to be in Phoenix for the day. Well, instead of working out of a Panera or a Starbucks, you can actually go check into Connect, bring your workout clothes, get your own workout in, use the pool if you need to, get in co-working, and get ready for your business day. And all of our gyms are designed that way with private showers because not everybody that works at Connect lives there, and vice versa. So you don't actually have to be a member you don't have to live at Connect to be a member of our community, because it's really built for people to hop around and be social members as well.
So micro units, how micro, by the way, on square footage basis?
Yes. Okay, here we go. So our studios are around 369 square feet, but they have really tall ceilings and floor to ceiling windows. But yeah, and that furniture that really transforms the space. Your bed isn't always down. It goes up. You can totally transform your space in there. The one bedrooms are probably around 469. Our biggest one is like 603, and they have big walk-in closets and everything, but just the space that you need, because our niche that we're designing for is that traveling professional, the creative type, people that don't really have that 9 to 5 job and can work from anywhere, but really just need an apartment to like take a shower, sleep, watch a show, and then you're out the door. So we're not building this community for someone that is really looking to hang out in their apartment for a long time. That's why we have these amazing amenities and huge amenities. I mean, Nashville, the gym is over 3,000 square feet. We have a 90-foot pool, huge amenity decks, community gardens, all kinds of different little places to work as well, in addition to our professional co-working areas. So it's really for that person that's just really not in their apartment that much.
And full kitchens or kitchenettes in like the studios?
Full kitchen. Yeah, galley kitchens in every single apartment. So, the studios will have your dishwasher, the refrigerators, their Whirlpool appliances, and they even have an ice maker in the little fridges, I think is adorable. But your one bedrooms and our co-living apartments, which I could talk about, which is my student housing side, really, it's, by the bed leasing in our 3-bed, 3 baths. And it's, private bathrooms en suite, but you share the common areas with roommates. And I even have a custom roommate matching program that I brought over from the student side, that we institute. And oh my gosh, the flight attendants, traveling nurses, residency doctors, young law students. I mean, it's just the best price point, and they get their own space, but yet they're new to a city and they can meet people, but only have to worry about yourself,
Okay, so the thesis is micro units encourage people to spend more time outside of their unit because you've got a highly and broadly amenitized community, and you're making the most of the space they have in their unit through specialized furniture, which is really cool. I have to check the website out and see what that looks like. Love the Murphy bed idea and concept. Seen really cool concepts on that front, so it'll be interesting to see what you guys have deployed. and with the goal to create is creating a sense of community part of this thesis to get people to interact with each other, or is it just to give them options to outside of their unit for things to do?
Both. What we found when we did our brand and experience director, Chelsea Hughes, she did this huge survey and testimonial campaign where we actually went to both properties and conducted interviews. Now that we've been operating for about 2 years now we want to figure out who our actual person is. Before we developed the brand, we kind of knew who our people are. But now that we have our personas, we find that we are right there with the traveling professionals, but we also found that people like to have their own space and also like to co-work with people. And part of Connect is with our social club. We have a really extensive social programming weekly. 4 fitness classes a week, at least 2 networking events a week. So there's something going on for the residents at all times. And we use a technology platform, Modern Message, which I know everybody's familiar with in this classroom, to get our events out there, get RSVPs. Yeah, people can get points for RSVPing, and we can really keep track of the attendance there as well.
You guys have really embraced this idea of short-term rentals, or allowing the residents themselves to engage in short-term rentals and derive revenue from hoteling their own space, which is also, I think, pretty avant-garde.
Yes. And this is a big part of our business model. And with these 2 properties being launched for just 2 years now, really Phoenix just a year and a half, this is why we have launched finally our hoteling floor in Phoenix. We got several permits through the city. You have to be permitted, follow all the rules there for your short-term rentals. So we actually permitted 9 units in Phoenix right now. And we have the rest of the furniture scheduled for the rest of the floor. So we are figuring out our processes to really make this a safe and really exciting experience for the member in the future. Nashville, we're working with the city there because, as you know, Nashville is booming with short-term rentals. So we are working with the city there for our permitting, but we have hired a company called Front Desk. And they are absolutely fabulous to work with. And they're a pretty young company, actually. So they actually run our bookings, communication, because in property management, I know everybody's thinking about this like, oh my gosh, I barely have time to do all the renewals, delinquencies, work orders. How am I going to have time to check people in and check people out and tell them where to park, right? Well, we have this with a company, and I highly suggest if your property management owners, investors are looking at doing this, hire a third-party company to get you going. Eventually, we will be doing this all on our own, but we are getting our processes, procedures under this. With ordering toiletries, right? We got to order coffee makers, hair dryers, everything that you want in a hotel room. How are you going to wash your linens? These are all big things that coming from resort management that I've always had to think about, and I really just love seeing it all come together. So eventually, yes, with our hoteling and short-term options that we're already launching in Phoenix, will be open to our members, because we are catering to that 25 to 45 age range person, and those people are the most in-debt generation of any generation. And, what if you didn't have to pay your rent, and that cost was alleviated because you're traveling anyways. And then you can put that money back into your business, pay off your debt, make a trip to Europe, buy new outfits for your business, whatever it is. You can put that money elsewhere and really get out of debt and then be able to live the lifestyle that you want. Because this generation, we do have a very expensive lifestyle. So we're helping with that at Connect by starting to do these really flexible lease terms, short-term stays. But on the business side, it is very, very advantageous to owners, investors, because we're monetizing not only on our co-working with our memberships, but these short-term stays that do offer a high premium that we're getting hand over fist on. So it's really avant-garde. We're still getting our processes in a row, but our hoteling floor is launched in Phoenix, and it's doing very well. I know in the audio booking, we've had over 133 bookings just since July of launching this. And we're only on the 2 platforms, Airbnb and VRBO.
Wow, this is a very exciting concept. Look, if I was in the market for an apartment, unfortunately I know there's Chicago and Nashville, but it's very compelling. And I'm not Gen Z. I'm actually, I've aged out of the demographic you're talking about, but it's still fascinating, interesting to me. Now, but I'm going to ask you to grab your chalk and your elbow patch festooned jacket, professor, and teach those of us here listening today that don't have the opportunity to do something purpose built like this with the micro units, all that. What have you learned from launching the Connect brand? What have you learned about understanding your demographic or what niche you're going for? What can you pass along to those listening today that you guys have learned from through going through this process that you can implement in a community that's already built, and may not have the room for all these great amenities or the budget to build those? What should be their takeaway?
Sure. And I have so many ideas, and you can actually go to Multifamily Insiders and see this blog post where I was just feeling super creative, and I'm just, giving out all kinds of ideas for people without budgets. If you have a medium-sized budget or if you have a big budget, like kind of where to start. But what I would say for a takeaway is start by collecting some data, do surveys, do polls. Instagram polls go such a long way. I mean, people will be scrolling through their stories and, oh, there's a little poll. I'll click on it, and you can really get that data in its real time. And, going back to our demographic, that's just our typical demographic, but we are really catering to anybody that is on the go and doesn't have a typical lifestyle. It's definitely not just for the young or the media or, middle age, like myself pretty much. But it's for everybody. I mean, we really do have all age ranges and all types of people that live there. But I would love for everybody to get their pens and pencils out, because I'm going to give you some takeaways that I've literally implemented and have been successful, and you can see on the blog posts, and we'll be able to share some slides from this really in action. And I just, love seeing ideas come together with a plan and when you execute. And some of these can become consistent. Okay, here we go. Is everybody ready? Daniel, are you ready?
I'm ready. I have I'm taking digital notes. Go ahead. Don't have a pen.
Okay, so if you just want to get started, and let's say you really want to attract that on-the-go person or that on-the-go professional, what we have found is that there's a few different genres. Okay, we have the socialite, somebody that's really, really interested in connecting with people, being at all the events, going to different fitness classes, bringing their friends over. We've also found, those fitness gurus. And Connect is a really health and wellness oriented brand because of our fitness classes, our on-the-go lifestyles. Everybody that lives at our properties are really just these on-the-go professionals, and they're just on the go. I don't know how else to explain it, but you also have to have that work-life balance as well. So having fitness, having yoga, having meditation classes also can bring people together to experience these things all under one roof without having to leave to go to the gym, get in traffic, be stressed out there. You can come home after work, or just come up the elevator and co-working if you work from home at Connect, and just go to the gym and you meet people, and you never know who you're going to meet at our properties. So some takeaways that I would love to see people get interested in is to bring in a weekly instructor for 2 classes a week. And you can usually get these for around, $75 to $100 a class, even if you have beginning instructors that are looking to bud their business or get cross advertising. I'm the cross promotion queen because marketing is so busy, so expensive, and people say no all the time because of budgets, right? So I'm always trying to find ways to cross promote. So find a student yoga instructor. They would love to come to your property and get them on social media, and you tag and share and get them in front of their the residents there. I also love doing networking events. This can be very small. You can find local vendors in your community that will sponsor wine, beer, chocolate tastings, wine tastings, and then you can just have them come there and then do a networking event, and you're bringing people together. I always tell people to bring business cards no matter where you go, and you could do this weekly. And people, the more consistent that you try to do these events, the more people will be able to plan their time, plan their day. Maybe they didn't get to that one, but they know they're going to go next Tuesday. So keep them going, and it's all about that promotion as well. Another one I love is just member appreciation. We do this about twice a year in the fall and then in the spring after our big moving season. And it's a whole week packed full of really cool stuff. We'll bring artists in that want to show off their art. This is free. I mean, if you have a wall, you could put art up on your wall, have people come in. This brings people together to talk about it. And it'll also get the artists in your communities some exposure as well. So that's really great cross promotion, and also getting involved with the community, which is a huge one for me. And I have another, I know we're running out of time, but you'll see a lot of videos that we'll share of, donation drives that we get involved with. This has cost us very little, really just printing costs for marketing materials. But like the Appalachia floods, in Nashville, Appalachia, Kentucky is really close to us. So many thousands of people were stranded without food, water, electricity. We actually did a drive and partnered with a small business that is grassroots, taking supplies up to these people. And our residents love getting involved and feeling a part of something, and that they're helping people. And that's one thing I love about, this millennial generation coming up, as well as Gen Zs, is that the more we learn about them, it's like they really want to be a part of something and be a part of the greater cause. You can have an apartment that's great. You can be in the best location, but I think people are really going to lease from you when they know who you are and what you're doing in the world. And with Connect, they can tangibly see that we want you to have a work-life balance. We want you to have a healthy lifestyle. We want you to get involved with your local community. And you can do this all under one roof with us. Two more takeaways. Food trucks. These are always great. They're very inexpensive to have, especially if you do it consistently. And then also these holiday pop-up shops for local businesses. This is another great way to get involved with your community, and it's free. They would love to come to your apartment complex, even if you're in a warmer weather climate where you could do it outside. Do a holiday pop-up shop and have about 15 vendors there, and make perks for your residents and discounts if they buy something. And then you can keep having those people back and promoting them. So those are a few takeaways for our savvy socialites.
Carroll, what about I was on the operations side for a while, as you may or may not know, and I think our challenge always was, if you want to have a you call a member appreciation, a resident appreciation event, like how do you get people to show up? Like how do you promote it and get people to pay attention to it? Like you bring a yoga person and nobody shows up for the class, it's like bummer for everyone all around. How do you activate your resident base to get them to attend to these things? What's the secret magic formula there?
Sure. So if you're on our Instagram right now and seeing this, we actually just had a midday pop-up lunch and meditation in Phoenix yesterday, which was a Tuesday, right? Middle of the day. So what I did, and there was about 25 people that showed up just for an hour at 12 o'clock p.m. So my secret sauce is that obviously you want to plan ahead. Nobody likes last minute activations because these are busy people. But if you do something about a month ahead and you have a calendar, and obviously everybody rides the elevators or is at the high traffic areas, having that really big, like a 44 by 36 board that shows, the calendar going on. I also like to use QR codes for people to learn more information to get to Modern Message so they can RSVP. And we push that urgency that class sizes are small, spaces are limited, and they know if they don't RSVP, they may not get into that class. So also pushing exclusivity for your activations is really important. So if you're holding it in your community kitchen or maybe your social lounge, and you can only have capacity in there of 50 people, you want to say first 50 people get a free coupon, or first 50 people get a free t-shirt. That's going to push people to also RSVP as well. I love doing e-blasts and text blasting. So if you're not using a texting platform, I know there's several in our systems with Entrada and CRM and Yardi, but using like a text box that can get to everybody instantly. And then you can also send them a call to action, a CTA, to RSVP by a certain date. That's kind of my secret sauce for activations. And of course, getting the teams involved, do fun stories with your front of house teams that the residents see every day. Get them on an Instagram story and say, hey, everybody, we're doing this ice cream pop up. Everybody needs to come to this, and make it fun and cool. And people will start to engage with that.
And is the end game here, from a resident engagement standpoint, is it ability to charge higher rents? Is it ability to just reduce your churn annually? Like, what do you expect if somebody implements some of these great ideas you're suggesting? What would you expect would change about the way that property operates in a year?
Yeah, I think the end game is, rents will always be with the market and go up and down as the market asks. But our end game is that we all live for renewals. I mean, I will do just about anything for a renewal. So I think the end game is retention and brand loyalty, and to keep your property full. So if you hone in on what your residents, or as we say, members, already love to do, and you're going to make mistakes. Okay, that activation didn't work, but keep trying and keep doing it and keep changing it. Don't just say, well, I don't think that will work because of this, or, always just kind of assume that it will work. And when it doesn't, then you can pivot. But the end game is brand loyalty and retention and keeping people at your property, which saves a ton of money from turnover costs and releasing and remarketing every unit that we have to resell. So, making your residents your own influencers. You can really reduce your marketing costs if everybody that is at your property is tagging and sharing and bringing their friends. Then you're going to be full all the time, and you don't have to do these expensive ILSs or publications that you have to spend thousands of dollars on, and you just have your residents be your influencers.
Well, this has been very, very interesting, and I'm really happy to hear that the platform, the concept is really going well and is being embraced, because I love everything about it. Maybe not everyone wants to live that way. I mean, some people are just hermits, but for the people that are interested in the community experience and getting out, it sounds like the ideal kind of situation. So really, congratulations on getting that launched.
Thank you so much. And just for inviting me on to give me the platform. It's really hard to explain this cruise ship that we're building on land, but I would love for anybody, if you're ever in any of the markets, to reach out to me, come see it, just come tour around. I'm an open book, almost too much. And I love to share ideas with everybody. I've done so many crazy activations for new lease ups over the past 13 years that I'm an open book. So always open for ideas and collaboration.
Yeah, and speaking of being an open book, you've shared a lot on, I guess, through Multifamily Insiders, mostly through some of your blog posts there. So people should look there if they want to read more about some of the thoughts you have about marketing and leasing, all that sort of. Any other resource where people could get exposed to your particular outlook on marketing?
Sure. Well, if you want to check out Vidyard, it's VIDYARD. They happened to choose some of my multifamily videos for an award last year. I was really the only person in multifamily that got chosen. They were all like big tech people, but I did a big blog post with them of how we're really using video and technology for the leasing experience and for conversions. I'd love for everybody to get information on that if it'll help you reach your goals. So Vidyard's great, and of course Multifamily Insiders are my favorite. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor VanHook. Appreciate your time today. Thanks for introducing the student body to a brand new way to think about multifamily living.
Awesome. Thanks so much. See you later.
Thank you for joining us at this week's episode of the Apartment Academy podcast. The Apartment Academy is a production of Leonardo 24/7, the industry's leader in multifamily operations and maintenance software. At Apartment Academy, we realize the hard work that goes into property management and the stress that comes along with it. Leonardo 24/7 takes the guesswork out of your team's day-to-day by providing customized daily guidance on tasks that need to be done, guaranteeing consistent operations across your entire portfolio. To learn more, visit www.leonardo247.com today.